Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is a rapid fire session. So I'm going to look at H bar. I'm going to look at all of these coins here. Maybe all of them, not sure. So take a look. I got Rune in the house, VeChain, IMX, Harmony, ICX, UOS, Filecoin, Litecoin, Floki. What the hell is that? Is that a meme coin? I got Ton. I got Dero, Bitcoin Cash, Dash. I got CRV, La Vita. I got H bar. Okay, and maybe a few others. We'll see how it goes. So I'm gonna start off with H bar. So looking at the price of H bar, and they're pretty much um, generally the same, right? They're pretty much generally the same. So, and what I mean by that is most of the coins, like you look at Theta, you look at Filecoin, H bar, right? Most of them have this one, two, three, four, five. They have this bull run, they have the bear market, and they all pretty much have this sort of accumulation range. So some of the the newer ones I'm going to look at, right? They don't have this type of structure. So for me as an investor, I'm looking for that structure, right? So like for example, if I look at this one, CRV, I guess yeah, it does have that. You have this impulse to the upside, this down move, back to the bottom in a range. That's what I want to see. Now, when you look at something like Dash, it looks somewhat the same. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, right? Bitcoin Cash. Trying to give an example here. This one does sort of has it where you have this rise up, you have this back down to the range. You're in this range here. Um, and I'm going to jump into all of these. So here's a coin that doesn't have that structure. You can see it's pretty brand new. These are the more riskier plays, right? And remember, when I say riskier, it could be, the bigger the risk, the bigger the reward too, right? So it really depends. But it's something I wouldn't really want to get too much involved with because there's really nothing to go by. I mean, just from the start of it, you have a 1, 2, and you have a 1, 2, which is bullish. So this looks like to me the third wave, right? But if it's already in that third and it's already taken out the top and it's in the new all-time high, it could go both ways, right? So it's kind of hard to gauge that. I mean, look at this coin. I think it's a meme coin. You're in this range here, right? You have a 1. Well, actually, you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and now you're in that monster third wave, right? So we'll talk about it. Let me get to H bar. Um, so looking at the price of H bar, I see, we have obviously most of them are the same. We have this 5 wave move to the upside, which is the bull market. You have the bear market, and now you have your sort of bottom of the barrel, which is where the investor takes a stab at it, right? So if you're buying up in here and over here and over here, right? You don't want to buy in these monster volatility areas. You want to wait until you get a range, you establish support, right? So just like how you had a range here, which kicked off this bull run, right? So let's look at the range we're in. And I'm on linear scale for today. So going back to log scale, I do prefer log scale in the crypto markets because it helps sort of put the waves in perspective, right? It gives them depth. It gives them, more of a scale, right? So looking at the price of H bar, just like many others, just like Theta, we have this range here, and it's very bullish, right? And inside this range, you have sort of this M pattern, right? You have this boom, 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 boom. That's Wyckoff right there. So anytime you have that, I mean, typically it's down here, right? And you have this sort of M pattern, and the last leg of the M is usually long and slanted. Sometimes it breaks the low, right? Depending on what schematic it is. So we have a Wyckoff structure in here, right? That's number one. And we have this spring phase, which initiated this 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So we broke above the range, and now we're sort of dancing on top of it. So the question is, what next, right? Well, in my opinion, we're going to continue going higher. That's the easy part for me. The hard part is, okay, how are we going to go higher? Are we going to come back down and back test? Are we going to play around in here, right? Because we're pretty much barely getting out of here. So this is the 5-day chart. Let's look at the daily chart. You could see we did come up, we did back test, and now we're sort of ranging in here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we get some consolidation in here before a pump, and that would rhyme with the rest of the market. I put out a video yesterday and actually throughout the week saying, hey, you know, we're getting potentially closer to a correction. I'm not sure if we have another wave up before that. Some of them look like they have gas in the tank for a little high, for another high, and then others seem like they're more in a ranging already, right? So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, looking at this chart, we have, you know, here's an example of Wyckoff, as you probably already know that. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So now, where are we in this Wyckoff? Well, I would suspect, right? This is a different schematic, by the way, but I would expect us to be somewhere right here, right? So looking at the example, you know, when we break above here, these highs, we sort of play around in here for a little bit, typically, right? I mean, look at theta. Theta played around kind of down here before it took off. So it kind of depends on, you know, where it is in the range, but usually it'll dance around a little bit before, you know, that big ejection, right? So yeah, I'm thinking higher prices for theta and basically all the altcoins, really. I mean, most of them look like they have more upside potential. Now, there is a bearish idea for not just for H bar, but for all of them, right? Which is you have an A, B, and C, right? And in wave C, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's definitely interesting, right? I mean, I haven't really talked too much about this one. I've been waiting to see how it reacts, but the bullish, for me, the bullish setup is stronger than the bearish look, right? So, you know, when you look at theta and you try to say if that's the same thing, it seems the proportions seem off, and we don't have 5 waves. So if this is an A, B, and a C, right? Kind of like this ugly looking, you know, correction, right? But you don't have 5 waves in C. You have 1, 2, 3, right? You still need 4 and 5 to make it a C. So A, B, C. But look at wave A. The proportionality isn't really good. Like H bar, it looks better. And I'm talking about the bearish idea, right? The proportionality looks better on H bar. So like ADA, right? Let's look at ADA. ADA kind of has that look as well, where you have this sort of ABC. So you have an A, you have a B, and now we're in C. And in wave C, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you have an A, you have for B, right? So we'll see, or actually B's right here, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 5 gets even higher. Maybe we have an extended fifth. So some charts are saying, hey, there's a bearish look to it, right? But then other charts are saying, no, that's just the way it forms and it looks like an ABC, because a lot of times everything starts out as an ABC, right? Right? It's either like this is an ABC, or you have this as a 1, 2, 3, right? The difference is this one will correct and continue to correct before either going down or continuing to correct up. This one usually has a fourth wave, then a fifth wave. Then you have a three-way pullback with continuation, right? So, and then on the other hand, right, I'm just trying to give look, I'm bullish. I'm trying to give the bearish perspective, right? I'm trying to give the bearish idea for people to sort of challenge themselves on the bullish narrative, right? Because there's a lot of bullish narratives out there, including me. But as an investor, you want to challenge your bullish bias with trying to look at the chart bearishly, right? So that's sort of the count I have to look at charts bearishly. I mean, it's as simply as that ABC, and then also, going into a retracement. But for me, the problem is, and this chart doesn't have a lot of the data, but it's basically like that. So the problem is if we come up here, right? Well, one of the problems is we haven't really gotten to the retracement levels per se. And then the other issue is, we haven't finished this fifth wave, it doesn't look like. And then the other issue is, Bitcoin's breaking out into a new all-time high. It sort of doesn't make sense for this to be an ABC, right? ABC, because to me it looks like a Wyckoff pattern, right? And you play around here, then you continue higher. So you're in this range, right? So I'm just giving you the bearish look. If it is bearish, I don't think it is. I think we do need a correction. So let's go back to H bar. I think, we need to finish up this fifth wave. And I made the case for theta that it is already finished. Some of them are not, right? But regardless, I think that, when you zoom all the way out, they got much more higher to go. And to me, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? That's a 5-wave move. So you would have an ABC, right? Or some type of correction. And then another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Another move to the upside. And if we get that, then this whole thing becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's what you want to start off the bull run, right? Because right now we only have 3 waves. We need this fourth and this fifth wave to really confirm that, yes, we're going to continue breaking out into new all-time highs. But as of now, we just have a 1, 2, 3, or an A, B, C, right? It's 3 waves. We need 4, 5, right? But remember, everything starts out as 3 waves. So, it's kind of a wait and see what happens in the fourth wave. Or is it a reversal? I can't see a reversal, though, because it doesn't make sense. There's too many bullish things, like Bitcoin at an all-time high, all the Wyckoff structures, this accumulation structure. Yes, we're going into a retracement, but we're not doing it off a V bottom. We spent accumulation time down here. So that's why my main stance has been since I started making videos is usually you have a rise, crash, you go into a retracement, some type of correction, right? Maybe it is an ABC, and you get up here, right, in this resistance zone in here, right? And then you sort of go in distribution, then you come all the way back down and you back test or retest this range. So here's your first range. You break out, right, which we're doing. You continue moving higher. Maybe it's already done, right? I don't think so. I doubt it, right? I say maybe because this is not financial advice. I could be wrong. I'm just giving ideas. I don't know what the future is. I'm giving us possibilities based off probabilities. And my main stance has been rise, crash. We have a retracement. Then you come back down into reaccumulation, right? Because here's your accumulation, right? You break out and it confirms, okay, everybody's bullish, let's go. But nobody's buying it because it's already gone up so much, right? Not talking about H bar, but just in general, as you're breaking it out. So what do? What does the smart money do? They say, okay, the bull run is ready to go. So they wait until we get a pullback. So you get a pullback, people start to panic. Oh, it's an ABC, we're going down. But in reality, it just goes down to retest the breakout area and then go into reaccumulation. So people who were buying in here, right, or people who missed out, now have another opportunity to reaccumulate back down here before then breaking out and going on the real bull run. Kind of like what XRP has done, right? Just on a much bigger scale. Then you have an entire rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout. And that could happen. That could happen, right? If it's not going to happen, then you have a 1, 2, 3, you pull back for 4, and then you continue higher. The difference is what happens during this wave in here, right? And at the end of the day, this whole thing will be a fourth wave regardless. So do we have a quick fourth wave with a big pop breakout? Or do we have a more long, methodical fourth wave that takes the shape of reaccumulation before we break out? And that goes with theta. Just look at theta, right? Look at this. The problem with theta is we do have 3, right? So you could say this is an A, B, and a C, right? So you could say 1, 2, all of this is 3, 4, and 5. And now we have an A, B, C, which is followed by another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I mean, that's what you would think. Because if I flip it upside down, right? The chart is upside down. What do we have? We have a bullish impulse, which is actually bearish, right? And then you have a 3-way pullback with then another continuation to the downside. So you have to look at it both ways. You have to be skeptical. Always challenge your bullish bias is what I'm saying. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't. I don't think that's going to happen. Is it possible? Of course. Anything's possible. But my whole thing has been, I look at it from a bigger perspective, which is we're ranging. We had a big wave 1. We came down for wave 2. We were in this reaccumulation, Wyckoff, right? And now we're continuing higher. The question is, do we do what XRP did, right? And what Ethereum and Bitcoin did back in 2019, which is a rise, crash. We go into a retracement. Maybe we go higher. Then we come back down and we retest this range. And then we go back into reaccumulation, right? So something like that. So let me just show you real quick. Let me do a better job drawing it. So we have our range, our Wyckoff range, right? We broke out of the range, 1, 2, 3. I would like wave 3 to be higher though. That's the thing. I want it to go higher. Now, this is the big time frame. When we zoom in, I think we need a correction, right? But I would like to see the price get higher. Then we can either come down for a wave 4 and then continue the bull run, right? We continue just marching on up. So we want this third wave to be as big as possible, right? If it stalls out now or before we hit the retracement levels, and this is not just theta, this is H bar, this is all of them. So this goes with all of them. If we come up and we get rejected by the 618, the 702, right, and we pull back for the fourth wave, that's fine. The question is, what does that pullback look like? Does the pullback come back down and then it backtests this breakout area, and then it sort of consolidates and goes into reaccumulation, then breaks out into a new all-time high? That could totally happen. And that's kind of what XRP is. XRP is in this sort of sideways motion, right? Much bigger chart, by the way. So that would be option number one. And that's been my main idea, right? But Bitcoin broke out into a new all-time high. Now I'm starting to think maybe we don't need to do that. I don't know. Let the market prove itself. But regardless of whatever I say, I am macro bullish, right? So we either have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, back testing this area, right? Reaccumulation, then we continue the bull run, or we have a 1-2, 1-2, right? And then we continue the bull run, right? Or we have a simple 1, 2, let's get 3 and 4 and 5. Then we get, a three-way pullback, right? And then we continue higher. So, that's what I'm saying. I've been saying it for the longest time. A lot of things can happen in the retracement levels. That is the most challenging, unpredictable part. Because when we're at the bottom down here, I said, yeah, we're bullish, right? But now you get towards the middle, and it's like, okay, now what? What's going to happen? I still think we got plenty of room to go. I mean, we've only hit, what price level did we hit? We hit about $3.81. So if I take this and put it on linear scale, which it should be on, right? I mean, the 618 isn't until $9, right? So we can go, let me put this line here at about $9, $8, up to here. So these three lines, I'll take this off. And again, this goes with H bar. This goes with all the charts that look like this. So if your chart looks like this, if your coin looks like this, where it has a bull run, it has a crash, it has this range, and now it's in a retracement, which is basically all of them, right? It's pretty much all of them. Just look at total 3. Then the question is, like I said, do we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5? Or do we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, we back test, and then we explode to the upside? Or do we have an A, B, C, and we continue going down in the bear market? That would be the last case scenario for me. I'm not even going to talk about that. That could happen, but I'm not going to even talk about it because there's no point to not yet, right? So for me, it's all about 1, 2, 1, 2, continue higher. Or are we going to continue a little bit higher, then come back down, and then go into reaccumulation, then continue higher? So a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout, just like what Bitcoin did. Check out what Bitcoin did right here. This is the thing right here. So here's your range, right? Now, granted, the range was tiny. It was little. Look how small it was. It was nothing, right? Theta and the rest of the market had a big, substantial range because the bigger the base, the more momentum you have, right? So what it did is it went into a rise, crash, retrace, And then when it got to the retracement level, then it went down for reaccumulation. Then it went sideways. You could see how it went sideways in here. Then only then, that's when it went into the bull run. So that could happen with Theta. That could happen with Filecoin. That could happen with Ethereum. And it could happen with all of them, right? But the thing is, Bitcoin's at an all-time high. And most of the coins have a beautiful, long Wyckoff accumulation structure down here. So, yeah, we might have a little bit of reaccumulation. Then it would probably look like maybe like this, where you have this range in here, you break out. Then you go into another range, you break out. Then you go into another range, right? This is a different type of, look how much work to get through this retracement. So here's the crash. The market is recovering, right? But it has to go through all of these retracement levels. It has to cut through them, right? Boom, 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 boom. It's like, you've been kidnapped and you're trying to cut through something that you're tied up with a dull butter knife, right? Eventually you're going to get through it, but it takes a lot of work. And then finally, boom, you go, right? So, going back to Theta, and I wasn't even going to talk about Theta really because I talked about it yesterday. But Theta is a good example, right? So the same thing what Bitcoin did, we can come up here and then kind of bull flag out of here, right? You come all the way up here, maybe a lot higher. I think definitely a lot higher, right? It looks like it needs to, but in the short term, I think a correction. But anyway, we pull back down and then continue higher. And this whole thing would be reaccumulation. It could be, a wave 4, or better yet, we can have this. This is what Bitcoin did. It went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it just sort of did this. And then it went to the upside. So if I was a betting guy, I would probably say something like that. But here's the thing. But since Bitcoin broke out into a new all-time high, I don't know if it's going to be that long and painful. I think it might be shorter, right? Or maybe we won't get one at all. Maybe things will just rip and rip and rip. So it's hard to know what happens in these retracement levels because all I have to go off of is we have a range, we have a Wyckoff, we have a breakout. But that doesn't really tell me, are we going to break the top? Are we going to go into reaccumulation? Is this an ABC, right? There's still a lot of unanswered questions. So for my job is to talk about those possibilities. There was a comment that said, hey, I would, appreciate the comment. I love the comments. I appreciate all feedback and responses. I really do. But the comment said, hey, can you keep your video shorter? Maybe instead of going through all the scenarios, just pick, the main one. And the reason I don't like to do that, I like to talk about all the scenarios because if something happened, then, I've covered it, right? That was an idea because, analysts, especially analysts that are public and go public with their analysis. Some of them they get totally grilled for being wrong, right? And my job is not to be right or wrong. I'm just here to sort of paint the picture of what it could look like. And by doing that, there's a lot of different things that can happen. So I'd be kind of doing a disservice if I didn't cover it all. But if you want to know my opinion and what I think is going to happen, I think we're going to break out into a new all-time high. And I think that's going to come. It's hard to know when, but I think eventually that comes, regardless if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, regardless if it's a 1, 2 in an ABC and we go into reaccumulation, then break out, right? So the destination is easy. The hard part is figuring out how it goes there. The route it takes, right? So, I want to try to figure that out for everybody. But definitely need more data. So we got H bar out of the way. Like I said, I think H bar is, a target for H bar when it breaks out. I would look at, 89 cents to $1, all the way up to $2.30. Boom, right there. Right. So, I mean, so far it looks pretty bullish too. Like you have a 1 2 1, maybe we get another 2. So a 1 2 1 2 would be bullish. And then we can continue higher. Or we get up here and we go back down to reaccumulation. So when you look at a chart, you can sort of get an idea of 1 2 moves. But then when you get 3 4 5 different moves, 5 steps ahead, the more steps you go in advance, the harder it becomes. So that's kind of like we like to take it day by day and see. So, all right, I got to get going because I'm only on H bar. THETA? I think this is the AI thing. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. You're in a range. You had a markup phase. You're in a range, right? Maybe it's a bull flag or flagging out, but it looks bullish. It looks bullish. So I would wait until we break that range. Yeah, I don't really have much to say about that one. CRV, same kind of thing with H bar, right? You had this move up, 1 2 3 4 5. You came all the way back down. Now you're in a range. The cool part about this one is we haven't broken out of the range. So from a risk perspective, from a percentage potential perspective, say that 3 times fast, we haven't broken these tops here like theta did, H bar did, right? It's still relatively low. So I want to see us get up to this resistance, right? Because it does have a Wyckoff structure. It has a nice looking one. Boom, boom, boom. Here's your slanted in. Here's your liquidity grab, right? You have a 1 2 1 2. Let's continue marching up. This is the 5-day chart, so we could correct a little bit, but I want to see it continue getting up into the resistance zone. If we can do that and break out, then it becomes okay. If we do that, then we can consolidate or back test the breakout zone, continue higher, right? There would be a 1 2 3 4 and 5. Get an ABC and then continue marching up into the bull run. Or if we break out, we come back down and we go into reaccumulation, then continue the bull run, right? So there are a couple of different ways that can happen. Dash. I haven't looked at Dash in a long time. So, I mean, it looks bullish to me. It looks like a massive falling wedge. I haven't even looked at this chart. This is the first time I'm looking at this chart in a long time. Someone requested it, but it looks like I want to get as much touch points as possible. So I would go there. This to me looks like, wow, that looks bullish, guys. That looks like a massive falling wedge or a diagonal. You have 1 2 3 4 5. I mean, that's bullish. And then you have, I know Gregory Manarino likes this one. I know he bought it. Then you have a 1 2, right? I think this thing can break out, back test, and really go. So the target for a falling wedge is getting back to the top. So basically in this area, it's at $40. So this thing could be, a power play here. Let's see. Just to get back to the all-time high is, almost, about 3,700%. So it looks bullish. And then, it's different from XRP. It has been around a while, but you know, this one you have a rise, crash, retrace, but instead of going into reaccumulation and then blasting off, it did something different. It had an A, B, C. So look at this. Look at this. To me, it looks like um, you have a 1, 2, right? And then this is 3. And now we have an ABC for 4, and now we're about to get 5. So 1, 2, 3, right? 1, ABC, right? 3, ABC, and then we get 4. So it has a beautiful 3-wave move here. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. Looks bullish. And it doesn't have a Wyckoff structure. But I mean, it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in wave C, right? And then you also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have an A, B, C. So you have 5, 3, 5. That's an A, B. That's a perfect ABC. And now you have a bottom here that's forming, right? And then you also have this. What I would look for is this downward resistance line. This is kind of exciting. I like the way this looks. It's definitely risky because of when the rest of the market was in a bull run, this thing only went into a retracement. So it had a monster pullback. It is an OG, one of the OGs around crypto. I know it's popular. It's on a lot of exchanges. I mean, it's not popular today per se, but it could be worth looking into. Now, the bearish perspective, and it is definitely a bearish perspective, is that this could be some type of descending triangle, which it could be, right? Now, if I put it here, let me take that off. We have resistance here, right? It looks like we're trying to get, right now we're back above it, so that's good. But this thing could be some type of, descending triangle. And if it is, then look out below, right? Let's see here. We have this resistance or support. We broke through the support. We retested it as resistance. We pulled back down, but look, we actually got back through it. So I would really look for, I want to really see it hold above this line. If we break below this line, it's not going to look that good, right? The last insurance policy I would say is if we break this line and then we come back down and we back test the top of the downward resistance line before breaking out. That would be sort of the last hope. But yeah, there's Dash. I don't know. See, the thing is with crypto, yeah, it's been around a while. But are there people continuing? It's all about the developers, right? Innovation. Are they continuing to innovate? Are they continuing to add partnerships? Are they continuing to develop on the blockchain? Right? If they just sort of, the founders create it and they just leave it alone, then people sort of forget about it. And then the new shiny toy comes in and they forget about Dash, right? Hasn't done anything in years, and then they sell it. Not to say that it won't have incredible rallies over time, right? But the question is, will this continue? It was a pretty big ABC. It looks like a good entry level for a macro holding perspective. So yeah, I'll definitely see how that one plays out. And sort of the same thing with Bitcoin Cash. I don't really have so Bitcoin Cash looks like this, right? So you have sort of a rise, crash, retrace. We come down for reaccumulation. We go sideways. Now we have a 1, 2. I really want to see this thing break out. If not, then, this was an ABC. There's some type of flat pattern. It didn't break the low. You have a low. You have a higher low, right? It's a 3-wave move. You have a base down here. You broke the base. You consolidated. Now you're continuing to pump. So I guess what I would look for is a break of this resistance line. So if we can break that, that would be pretty good. And then another idea could be that this is a triangle. A, B, C, and now we're up into D. We still have to go through E, and then we can blast off. Right? So there's your idea there. That's a good idea. Right? I think that would be my primary idea, is a contracting triangle. Okay, so next coin, D-Row. D-Row. I've never looked at this coin. This is the first time I'm looking at it. Well, it looks bullish. You have a base down here. We broke out of that base. We had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 5-wave move. Perfect. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, yeah, this is good. We have a W, X, and a Y. So an ABC structure is 5, 3, 5. A WXY is 3, 3, 3. Or an ABC can be 3, 3, 5. Right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And that whole thing is 1, 2, 3. The market moves in 5s and 3s. 5s and 3s. Right? So that's how they move. In 5s and 3s. So that's basically what you got to look for as an Elliott wave. Right? So yeah, we have, that's perfect. It looks really, really good. I think this is maybe the best chart I've seen so far. Maybe. Yeah, it went with the bull run while Bitcoin was going with the bull run, which is important. You have an A, B, C, right? And then also you have this sort of bullish flag. And yeah, it looks like if I put it, it looks like it's broken out of that too. So I pull it down here. Let me do that again. So right there, sort of a bull flag there. So basically it's correcting, right? You have a base, you have this impulse, and now it's correcting. And look at this. It broke out. It broke out. And it back tested it. So I'm not going to really look at the small time frames. I didn't look at them with the other ones, but this one, on the small time frame, it looks like, I don't even know what this coin is. D-Row, I never heard of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and looking for 5. Then I want to see an ABC or some type of correction, then a continuation, right? What I don't want to see is us break below this down in here. So as long as we stay above that, I think we have bullish continuation. So I got to get moving here. I'm trying to keep it within the time frame we're used to, which is about an hour. Someone said you should edit all the videos and make each one, 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long. That way you get more views, you get more videos, you get more monetization. And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. It's just, I don't know. I'm trying to do chapters as well so people can skip ahead. But, we'll keep it going the way it is for now. And I'm trying to make it easier for people. So looking at Ton coin, I think someone said tonic, but I don't know. I didn't find tonic, so I'm thinking he meant ton maybe. I don't know. This chart looks drastically different than all the others. On the one side, it looks to me like you have a sort of ascending triangle, right? If you draw it there, it looks like the ascending triangle broke out too early. I would have liked it to come down here, then break out. But that's why they're sort of subjective on where you put them, right? So it looks bullish. We're at a new all-time high. I'm thinking, hey, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a pullback. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 1, 2. So this whole thing is 1, 2. And now we're in the middle of the third wave, potentially. Right? So the third wave is 1, 2, maybe this is 3, 4, 5. And this whole thing is wave 3. Then we pull back for wave 4. Then we get wave 5. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to look, but that would be sort of what I would think would happen. So that would be my idea there. Now, if we come back down, then there's always a chance we can come all the way back down and back test the breakout area, because this was like essentially the all-time high. Come back down, we back test the breakout area, and then we continue higher. And that would be even more bullish, because then that would be, a 1, 2, 1, 2. So instead of this being the third wave, this is 1, 2, which then sets us up for a third wave at a later date, which means you have more percentage potential later on. So that's what I got for Ton coin. Floki. I mean, looking at it on linear scale, it looks pretty overextended, right? Go back to log scale. Yeah, it looks like it to me it's in a third wave. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a 3-way pullback. Looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're getting 5. So maybe we have a little bit higher to go. Maybe it's finished now, but I would expect some type of consolidation before that fifth wave. So I think it has another wave to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that might be the end of the bull run there, because people think, oh, the bull run just started. No, it's been started since 2023. Since January of 2023, that's when the bull run started. It only feels more like a bull run because we're getting near the end of it. But bull runs are sort of psychological. Like a bear market, it feels like it's forever. A bull market is like extremely fast. And then it's like, well, it just started, and then all of a sudden it's over, and people don't believe it's over. They believe it's just begun. And that's what happened in 2021. Now, for certain altcoins, the bull run has not even started yet, because it has not broken out into a new all-time high, right? So, still a lot of time to go. For me, like THETA, XRP, a lot of other coins that haven't broken their high, which is a lot of them. Once they break that high, then the bull run starts, really. But if you count it from the bottom, it's been going on since 2021. It just hasn't felt like it, right? Because all of it's been through Bitcoin. So yeah, that would be my idea with Floki. Looks very bullish. Litecoin. This was my sort of my idea that I had drawn a long time ago for Litecoin, which is in some type of contracting triangle, right? So I would just move this over right there. And basically suggesting that this is a contracting triangle, right? So we have We have an A, B, C, D, right? We're currently in D now. We got to get up here for wave D. Then we flag out for wave E. Then we can break out for Litecoin. So that would be sort of my main idea for Litecoin. It looks like a 1, 2. All of this is 3. And then we have a monster wave 4. And then we want to see that wave 5 come. Litecoin's been a torture show. It hasn't done anything like XRP in years, right? But I think it's setting up for something big, but I'm just not so sure. I think Litecoin's day will come. I really believe that. It'll come. The question is, I think it looks like it needs a little more time to go. Now, we do have a 1, 2, right? So if this can turn into a 3, 4, 5, we can break out. If not, then we'll come back down into a wave E. So if this is an A, B, C, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, then we get wave D, then we come down 1, 2, 3, and then we get wave E, then we can go. And that's, to me, looks like what's going to happen. And that kind of would line up with the rest of the market, because that would be, essentially a rise, crash, retrace, then we go down for reaccumulation, then we go. So Litecoin supports the case for reaccumulation for THETA, for all the other coins, if that's what's going to happen. Filecoin. And here's Filecoin as an example. So we have a rise, crash. For example, if it was going to do what Litecoin did, we're going to come back up into a reaccumulation. We still have some room to go. Then we come back down into reaccumulation. Then we can go to the bull run. Right? So we have this big sort of bull flag, kind of like what Bitcoin did back in the day. So yeah, for Filecoin, I think it's bullish. I think on the macro front, I think it still has more room to go. Now it does have this Wyckoff accumulation schematic. Let me see. And let me go to the weekly. Did it close on the weekly? It did. So it did close on the weekly. We got a weekly candle close breakout. So this is a beautiful Wyckoff structure. We have this boom, boom, this slanted M, right? We have the box on the bottom. We have a 1, 2. Oh, I haven't even talked about the bull market support band on all of them. So I've just missed out on all of that. I was wondering something was missing. Dang it. But anyway, Litecoin. Where's Litecoin's bull market support band? Just curious. It is above it. I know that one is above it. What about D-Row? D-Row is above it. Bitcoin Cash. I think they're all above it. Dash is above it. So that's good. So go back to Filecoin. Just like that Wyckoff example, when we break out, sometimes we play around in here a little bit before continuing higher, right? So, and also, if it's a bearish idea, you can still say that this is an A, B, and a C. But if it is an A, B, C, then you sort of need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C. Then we go down for reaccumulation. Then we break out to a new all-time high, right? If it's not that, and the Wyckoff is going to speak more volumes, then we continue getting into this retracement area after it consolidates. Then we have a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's a 1, 2. All of that's 3. 1, 2. All of that's 3. Then we got to battle in this retracement area, right, before continuing. Now, a lot of altcoins will do it. They'll break out into a new all-time high. That doesn't mean all of them will, right? So that's sort of where you have to have your conviction on which coins have good utility, which ones are continuing to develop. I know Filecoin's a good one. I think they'll be around for a while, right? So then basically my bullish count would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're still in the middle of wave 3. We just broke out of the range. I mean, we're early. Look at this. Here's the range. We barely broke out of the range. We still haven't really got into the retracement levels yet. Then once we get there, then we can figure out, is it going to flag out, continue higher? Is it going to go down into reaccumulation? You know, different things can happen. So EOS or UOS, UOS is same type of story, right? You have this impulse to the upside, this correction to the downside, and then you have this range in here, and it hasn't quite broken it, and you have Wyckoff. So boom, 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 right? You grab that liquidity, you have a 1, 2, and now you're going higher. So it's just kind of like Theta, where it started off, it came up here, right? Or even Theta Fuel, you know, it bounces around in here a little bit, consolidates in here. Once we break out, then continue higher. Then we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then once we get that, it's like, okay, now what? Is it going to be an A, B, C? And then we come down for reaccumulation, then we go, right? Or is it just going to be a simple ABC pullback, then continue higher? So I'm, looking at all these charts, I think they got more upside to go. I just think some of them might need, in the short term, probably a correction or at least some consolidation. So yeah, that one looks bullish. ICX, same exact thing. We're right at the almost the breakout. I mean, we're almost breaking out of this. It looks really good. I like them when all the closes are relative to each other. So instead of this close being higher, this close being lower, this one is basically flat, which is good. It has a better structure, right? It has really good horizontal resistance. And then look, we have maybe, a rising higher low, right? So you have this boom, 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 right? And then you can see, look at this, we're breaking out. So it looks bullish. Nothing goes in a straight line. It's going to take time. I mean, this whole thing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, from this move to here, let me zoom out. Just to put it in perspective, this little move from here to here took 6 weeks. It took 6 weeks with no red candles, all green candles. It took 6 weeks. So just imagine how long it would take if we got up here. I think things would, have more momentum. But yeah. So actually zooming out of this chart, I didn't even see the rest of it. Yeah, I think this chart's actually even more interesting because we have a rise, crash. We already had the retracement. Now we went back into reaccumulation. We went sideways. So this is actually probably, this one and I think D-row or what was it called? D-row. I think those two and maybe even Dash are probably would be my top 2 or 3 picks. I don't know. I don't like to say that, but I would have to do more research. I have no idea what these coins are or what they do. So it would be foolish if I said that. But just basically looking at the chart, I like the way this looks. We have a rise, crash, retrace. We went down into reaccumulation. We went sideways, and now we're breaking out. So this thing can turn into a big bull run because look, we already went into a retracement. So that's kind of like the same thing with the other alts is what I'm trying to figure out. So if I move this over and I say, okay, you know, pretend we're right here. We went into this range right in here, right? We broke out of the range, but then look, we came all the way back down inside the range, right, into reaccumulation. Now, typically, you want it to go into a retracement, and then you want it to reaccumulate on top of the range, then continue higher. This one came down. It still made a higher low, though, which is good. So, yeah, this one looks bullish. I might have to do a little... If you guys know what icon is, let me know. I don't know. I haven't really seen what this one is. It looks pretty similar as far as market structure goes on the small time frame. Look at this. We did get a back test. Look at these back tests, these wicks off the bull market support band. That's pretty bullish. I'm already at 1 hour, so that means I'm going to look at 1. So we're at the 1 hour mark. So I am currently looking at 1. So this is Harmony. What are you doing, Harmony? Yep, same exact story as most of them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have an M Wyckoff pattern. We have a breakout of the bull market support band, a back test, and now we are currently breaking above this range, this Wyckoff range. So we have these two lines here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we did, you know, that Wyckoff example where we play around in here, then continue higher, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, continue higher. That would be great. And I think that's what looks like most of the coins are potentially going to do. Like I said, now not all of them will have the luxury of getting that velocity. So far a lot of them look like that. So we'll just have to, we'll see. If you really like this coin and you understand the utility, you understand what it's about, then go for it. Because the setup is there. The chart says, yeah, it looks really good. And then you can also see we have a shoulder, we have a head, and we have a shoulder. We have an inverse head and shoulders as well. Right? I haven't really talked about targets on a lot of these charts. But essentially, if I break out of this, you look at 8 cents. Or almost 9 cents, and we're currently at 3.5 cents, right? So if you want to know targets, if this thing broke out into a new all-time high, I should have did it with the other coins. Yeah, those are your targets: 63 to 66, all the way up to 165, 166, and it's only at 3 cents. So from where it is now, you know, you're looking at between 1,500 and almost 4,000, 5,000% on this one. And the same would probably, let me see ICX real quick. ICX, I'll go down here. About $55, between $20 and $55 is the Fibonacci targets on here. And currently we're only at 37. Wow, we're only at 37 cents, huh? That's interesting. I might have to look into this one. I think this one's And it is a lot riskier too because it did not break out into a new all-time high. And you can say, well, yeah, XRP didn't either. Yeah, but XRP is in a sort of more different position, and that makes me more confident in other coins that haven't broken out. So, I mean, just to get to the 1618 thereabout, that's over 5,000% just to the 1618 if we were to break out. So, wow. If you get to the 4, I don't think that's going to happen, but if you get up there, you're looking at almost 14,000%. So we'll see what happens. Here's IMX. It's very brand new. It's hard to know what it's going to do. But essentially, you kind of have this structure, this sort of Wyckoff structure. We did break out of it already, right? So a lot of coins are at the resistance levels. This coin broke out, and it pulled back, and it continued higher, right? So it could be, right? It could be an A, B, C, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I wouldn't get this coin just simply because you already have 5 waves. You already broke the top. You broke the top, you pulled back, and you continued higher, and you're close to the... So I kind of want to see something like this, right? Something kind of like a 1, 2, 1, 2, then continue higher, right? So, yeah, I'll come back to that one. We need more data, but I got to wrap this one up. Okay, now a lot of people, I think quite a few people asked for Rune. So let's talk about Rune. Rune... man, this thing, what was it? It was at nothing, like 0.008. And it went all the way up to $21. That's 200. Think about that. I think this is the biggest one that I've shown today. 268,000%. That is insane. 200, that's 250,000%, right? It's currently up 133,000%. So I have no idea. I don't own this one. I wish I did. I wish I would have bought it. Think about that. You cash in all your crypto back in 2019. You go all in on Rune, 10x, 100x. You'd be on a yacht somewhere just sailing away. I don't know. Well, yeah, I think we definitely very bullish. Would I buy it? No, I wouldn't buy it. It's too high. It's too high, and it's already... I mean, I might consider it. The only way I would buy this coin... And by the way, it looks like all the rest except it's higher. So we had this Wyckoff structure, right, down here. And look what happened. We had this M pattern, right? We had the Wyckoff. We broke out and we continue to go, 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 go. So we went approximately 150% above the range, right? So a lot of coins are still battling the range. They're near the range. They're starting to poke above the range. This one's 152% away, right? Then it pulled back. Then it continued even higher. Now it's at 275% away from the range. So it's already very, very high, right? Yeah, of course it can continue going higher. It can go berserk, right? Let's see if I pull this down. Right now we're at the 50%. So usually when coins get to the 50%, they like to stall out a little bit. So the target would be, $11 up to $15, $17, and we're right there. So the percentage potential isn't that much as far as retracements go. I mean, we only have another 30% away from the 618, another 50% to 60% from the 702, 786. Right? Now, if you look at something like V-chain, let's see where V-chain's at. And I pull this thing down. Actually, let me get a new one here. First of all, this is sort of how I'm gauging where the coins are based off where they are in their range, where they are in their Wyckoff structure. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, in V-chain. And we are only about 45% as opposed to over, 300%. But to get to the 618, that's about 400%, 450%, right? But for Rune, it's only 30% away. So, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. But as an investor, I'm looking for, cheaper coins, right? So as far as Rune, I missed it. I missed Rune, right? Chainlink, that's one of the coins that I had the most success on, was Chainlink. I bought Chainlink very early, and I think that was my biggest winner in crypto ever, was Chainlink. So I did manage to sell a good amount of Chainlink to diversify in other coins that haven't even got to that level yet, not even close. So going back to Rune, a couple things can happen. Number one, like I've said, we have a rise, we have a crash, right? We have a range, we have a retrace, we come back down into reaccumulation, we go sideways a little bit, then we continue breaking out into the bull run, right? We sort of flag out in here. That could totally happen. That's idea number one. That would sort of be my primary idea, right? My primary ideas are always conservative. If we break out and continue going into a new all-time, great, perfect. I'm pleasantly surprised. But I would rather lean bearish and conservative than overly bullish. But my position is always bullish, right? But not on this coin because I don't own it. But you can see here, I mean, it's look at this, very bullish. We broke above the downward resistance line. We back tested. So if I was going to buy this coin, I would have done it right here at $4.30. We broke out, we back tested the downward resistance line, and we back tested the bull market support band. So where can this thing go? Well, if it breaks out into a new all-time high, let's see what the Fibonacci say. Someone said, how come you don't use Fibonacci and log scale when you're doing your targets? Well, because first I want to see the linear scale targets get hit first. Then we'll talk about log scale, because the log scale is much, much higher. So $34 would be the first target, around that 1618. That's about 225%. That's nothing. That's not a lot, right? Even if we got to the 4.236, that's only 750%. But if you look at V-chain, right, and you say, okay, let's get to the 4.236, that's, over 2,000%. So you have to ask yourself, which one has more potential, right? The other one, the Rune, could blow out V-chain out of the water. But me as an investor, I'm looking for ones that are relatively low on the Richter scale, if you catch my drift. So that's Rune. If you're in it, great. Very bullish, right? I mean, and the most bullish thing I can say about it is this could be a 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of third wave. And that third wave is going to do some crazy things. Now, if I put this on log scale, then we might hit the 1618 at $166, right? Between, I would just say $200. So $200 is a real possibility. Question is, are you willing to risk that, considering how high it's already gone? Right? So if you believe in Rune and you have this roadmap of where it's going, then go for it. But not financial advice. So we'll see. We'll see. So I did Rune, VeChain, same thing. We broke out, looking for more of a retracement. Algorand. We have an inverse head and shoulders. We sort of broke out of it. I'm looking for the price to get back up to about 71 cents. So, we have this A, B, C. We have a 1, 2, and now we're in the middle of the third. Let's get up here, then continue higher. And then pretty much all the same story. EOS, different type of look. I mean, this thing is sort of like Dash in a way, where it doesn't have that falling wedge effect, but it does have this massive A, B, C. And you're right at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom, right? So this thing can really start to accelerate quickly. But I don't know. Are people developing on EOS? Are they still active? Are they still doing what they need to do? Why did it sell off so hard? I don't know. If I take a Fibonacci here, I pull it all the way down. Bring it back to linear scale. I mean, just to get to the 618 is $14. And where we are now, just so think about that. Like Rune, it's going to take 400, 500% to get to the 4.236. With EOS, just to get to the 618, it's going to be 1200% almost. Not to say EOS is going to do that, or Rune. I think Rune is in a much better position, right? They got that bull market. I'm sure they got great developers. They're doing something right, right? Rune did something right, just like how Chainlink did something right. So, yeah, I want to see this get into a retracement. And then if I pull it down from this wave, at least get between $4 and $7. So if you've been holding EOS through this, then you got killed, right? So if I was holding EOS in here and I'm still holding it, I wouldn't sell it at this point. I would just keep holding it. Not financial advice. That's just what I would do. ADA, same story, right? We broke out of the range. We did get to back test it, and now we're starting to creep up higher. Right? So is this a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in A, B, C? Or a 1, 2, now we're getting 3, then we get 4, then we get 5? Or is the fourth wave going to turn into reaccumulation, and then we get 5? That's sort of the same story of what's going on across the board. XLM, I really like XLM. First of all, we have a rise, crash, retrace. We have reaccumulation, and we have sideways, right? And we also have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we have another 1, 2, right? And in that, we also have another 1, 2, right? So this thing can really rip, right? I really want to see it break above 16 cents, So for XLM, the goal for XLM is to close on a weekly scale above 16 cents. If we can get that close, I see big things happening for XLM. So first of all, I want to see it get back to 59 cents, up to 66 cents. And then, you know, we can see $1.50 up to $3.90, right, for that 4.236. And it's the same thing like XRP. So we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1. We have wave 2. And now we're potentially in wave 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that whole thing would be wave 3. But we gotta have some momentum here. We're still at the very early stages of it. So let's see what happens. So I think that's it for this video. I gotta wrap it up. XRP, I just wanted to point out, look at this. We did break above this area down here. Let me actually go to the 2-day chart. We did break out pretty nicely, right? In XRP, we broke out, we back tested, and we continued higher. So yeah, let's keep going, and that'll do it for this video. I was going to get into Ethereum. I have more to say about Ethereum. I'll talk about Ethereum in the next video. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed that rapid fire session, even though it took almost an hour and a half. Yeah, that's just I gotta figure out ways to get it shorter, get it edited better, because I don't do any editing. I don't do any, you know, it's one take, one shot, one single take. So I better not screw it up, right? So anyways, I could splice it and dice it and put out 5 different videos, but I mean, that's a lot of work to do that. But anyways, if you want me to look at any coins, drop them in the comment section, and I'll add them to the next time we do a rapid fire session. And you know, we'll keep this sort of the series going, and see how it goes. But for me, I mean, looking at Ethereum, this is the king altcoin, right? And it already got through. Is right now it's battling that last retracement area. Right? So I heard Hong Kong has getting an Ethereum ETF. I mean, I think if we really want to see a major altcoin bull run, I think there needs to be a catalyst. And I think an Ethereum ETF would be that catalyst, I think. Or at least maybe the Bitcoin halving, or something that maybe XRP ETF, or who knows, something big that happens that continues this momentum. But before that happens, look at this thing, looks pretty extended. All these green candles, you kind of want to see some correction, consolidation. Then in that correction, we can get some magic, right? So maybe Ethereum ETF or something. So anyways, guys, that'll do it for this video. If you want to support the channel, I got a tip jar. If you guys want to leave a tip, that would be amazing. If not, always hit that like button and click subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure you drop a comment. Really helps a small channel like mine get through these algorithms. And again, like if you want to, you know, me to look at any coins, just drop them in the comment section. I'll write them down, and I'll look at it the next video. But until next time, guys, that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.